Welcome to Peace is a Choice, the podcast where we explore how conscious awareness can help us cultivate inner peace and transform our lives. I'm Natasha Wallace, and in each episode, we'll hear from guests about their personal journeys, the challenges they've faced, and how they've found greater levels of peace in their lives and positively impacted the lives of others. So today's guest is someone who is redefining the future of HR. She's ranked number 3 on the HR Most Influential list and has earned recognition through her bold thinking, expertise and relentless drive to bring people together. She's the founder of the Women in HR Network and GKHR Networks and the co-founder of the HR Leaders Unconference, which are all platforms designed to connect, inspire and elevate HR professionals around the world. Georgina, welcome. It's so great to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, it feels like this was sort of destined, probably the very first time we met, and I can't even remember when that was. Do you have any idea?
It was a long time ago. I mean, my mind palace of memories and connections are slowly crumbling around me at the moment, but it feels like it was significant enough that I've got your WhatsApp number. I can call you at any time, even if when we last spoke, it was 6:30 in the morning or something ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's a good old 10 years ago at least.
Yeah, it's got to be, because I was an HR director, and I haven't done that for nearly 9 years. It would have been, it could even be like 13, 14 years ago. Anyway,
it's a solid length of time.
Exactly, and it's been a beautiful journey. And I mean, our most recent face-to-face hookup was a few months ago, because it was one of the events that you were running, and I was one of the panel guests. And it was just such an incredible event. Lots of women, because of course that was the focus of this particular network, and we were talking about gender pay gap, which actually could be quite a dry subject, but it was anything but dry, because we did get onto conversations about sort of limiting beliefs and how we hold ourselves back and how we can sort of step into our power and make sure that we're our very best selves as women in particular, because often we can hold ourselves back, can't we?
Yes.
So that was quite a sort of inspiring event, and of course I love any sort of event like that, because it does provide some renewed hope and inspiration for the people who are there. And interesting, actually, I'm just thinking that one of our special friends, a common friend amongst us, is Lucy Sentence.
Absolutely. Lucy's phenomenal. Yeah. And now she's one of my regional ambassadors for the Women in HR Network East of England.
Yeah, I was so pleased to see that was the case, because she's just phenomenal. But I remember, say this event was, I don't know, it was probably 4 or 5 months ago now?
It was in February this year.
Oh, right. Lucy was having a bit of an existential crisis. Because I hope she doesn't kill me for saying this. She'll be listening to this going, hold on, you're giving away all of my secrets. And at that event, I can remember having a conversation with her, and it was sort of about how to hang on to the hope, to hang on to hope, to believe that something better is coming. But at the time, I can remember she was definitely not in that place. And of course, fast track a few months later, she's in this incredible new job, in this amazing new culture. She's now collaborating with you. There's an argument to say that everything transformed, and it was all okay in the end. Something better did happen as a consequence of her sort of reaching this impasse.
I think even when you're even if you're having a really tough time, or personally or professionally, what Lucy did was the wisest thing. She, in terms of her own self-care, she reached out and joined a community where there was psychological safety, where she could be with like-minded people, where she could learn and grow and develop. And whether the Women in HR touch points were major influences in terms of the transition to where she is now, I don't know, but it was so wonderful to be part of that narrative.
Yeah, yeah.
For her, I mean, that's the stuff that just makes my heart sing, and why I do what I do. It's brilliant.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit more, because I wonder what on earth made you think, I know, I'll set up a women's network and position myself as an HR matchmaker, which is the wonderful way in which you describe yourself. Was it a stroke of genius, a moment of madness, a bit of both?
Yeah, you know what? So much of what I've done and my own personal success has come through me needing something or wanting something more. The Women in HR Network came about because it was post-COVID. I was disengaged, I think, with the corporate networking, corporate event scene, which I'd been part of for many, many years and had benefited from hugely in terms of developing my network. But as a middle-aged woman who was perimenopausal, who was struggling to find the right level of connection for where I was in terms of my life, first of all, I was going to networking events and going, where are all the women? Where are all the women? I don't know where they are. And we're a female-dominated industry. So I was kind of like, hang on, do they feel the same way I feel? So I invited 6 of my HR heroes to a lunch at Albright, and to learn about how they were networking, how they were finding community. And we had a nice lunch. Everything I do is around food. It's, again, self-serving, but it's a good thing. It's like, okay, well, I see you all disseminating. I see you at conferences sharing. I see you kind of posting on LinkedIn and educating. But where are you learning? Where is your professional development? Where is your allyship? And what the feedback was is that it was lacking in terms of their day-to-day. And I said, well, how would you like to do this? How would you like to network? How would you like to grow? And they were like this. So it literally started with 6 people around the table, and as normal as a massive people pleaser, I was like, it is my responsibility to go forth and solve this problem. So we now have 2,500 followers, and we're outside of London. We have 7 chapters across the UK, and this has just been a passion project for me. And it's what I needed personally as well in terms of my development. So I love it because it gives me so much. So it's all about intention for me, and the right intentions. And anything I do is taking away time from my family and my daughter. So it has to be worthy of that, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because actually there's a strong argument for following your passions, yet often we end up in roles that don't feel like we're following our passions. Do you feel that because this is something that you are passionate about, it makes it easier?
Oh yeah. And it fills me with energy. There are downsides to that. It's like it fills me with so much energy, I oversubscribe myself. Like, but the difference now, I think, is that I don't feel like I'm doing it for anyone else but myself. I can see the value that it gives the industry. I'm using my superpowers of being able to bring people together, which is a skill that I have learned, which is through my sales and marketing background, but obviously is not something that may be a superpower or skill for women in HR. So the fact that I can contribute that and give, staying, well, these things I don't find hard to do. To put on an event and invite some people and encourage them to come and make them feel like they're going to have a great time, and then making sure that experience transfers into the event itself and then the follow-up, and it comes very naturally to me. So it's using my strengths in a really positive way for effective change and impact.
I love the way you describe it as superpowers. How did you realise that was your superpower?
It's taken me a long time to, I suppose, lean in to that. Like, I was I was always the weird one, generally speaking. You know, not a popular kid, had a small group of friends, but trying so hard to fit in and to be liked, I guess. And it was really only once I stepped into working in the HR community through events, and that was like 25 years ago, that I I kind of found my people, but also people engaged with me really well, and they liked being, you know, I suppose it was, I was a trusted person to be with, and they knew that they were going to have a positive experience. So more recently, a lot of my community is saying, like, when I just know we're going to have a good time when you're there. I know that it's going to be a really great feeling, and I'm going to feel good about myself, and and I don't know what the secret sauce is, but I know I have it.
I mean, I can say what some of the secret sauce is because I've obviously, been on the journey with you a little bit for the last few years. But you're very authentic. You're really real, and I think that that's quite a, you don't see it enough really in people who are just willing to be themselves, to tell the truth, to put themselves out there, to say when they're struggling, to say when they've got a big idea, to say when they feel a bit scared, whatever it is. I mean, you are the embodiment of authenticity, and I think that just leads to people feeling safe.
Yeah, I've always been a communicator, potentially over communicating in some ways, and then having that, like, oh, what did I say? Oh no, overshared. But again, I think that's, you'll find people who, that, yeah, it makes them feel safe and they want to share with you as well. And I think societally we've changed in terms of the way that we talk to each other now. I mean, I met two new people, brilliant people today, and within half an hour had already discussed our children, mental health issues, the cancer diagnosis, therapy. I mean, we hadn't even got to the root of why we were having the call, but that for me, that's much more of an important conversation. Work out if this person's going to give me energy. I think there's a lot around me realizing that I'm now in a position, because of all the hard work that I put in earlier on in my career, where I can be really selective about who I spend time with.
Yeah.
And I'm not for everyone, and that's fine. And it's kind of realizing that it's okay. You don't have to like me. I don't mind. But it's now transferred to, oh, do I like you?
Yeah, well, that's
And
fantastic. What an empowering thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, crikey, I'm 50 next year. It's taken a while to get there. And I'm still a work in progress. I mean, nothing is kind of like shiny and well formed. It's still all a bit squidgy and in development.
Yeah, I feel like that's just the story of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a constant
Yeah,
journey.
absolutely.
It's interesting as well that you talk about not fitting in. I mean, that really resonates with me, because I've always felt odd, like the odd one out, like I didn't really fit. And of course, when you're younger, that's quite difficult to deal with, because we're just primed to look for belonging and to be part of a group and to sort of be the same as the people that are around us.
Yeah.
That's really hard in the earlier years, isn't it, to
Yes.
come to terms with. But it sounds like you've turned that into another superpower, and actually not only that, you now use it to give other people a place where they can fit, because many of us feel like that. I think we often feel like the only ones that feel like we don't fit in, and then as soon as you start having that conversation, there's lots of people who are saying, oh no, I felt like that my whole life, like I don't belong, I don't fit, or I'm a bit weird, or I've got these strange ways, or I don't really know how to start a conversation, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And you've created an environment where all of that is fine.
Yeah, but again, it's just like I wanted to create an environment where I felt fine as well. So it feeds through it. If you set the tone, then you're setting a standard around kind of honesty and authenticity. And I mean, networking is such a weird thing. Like every time I write a post, like I go, oh, come and network. And I'm just trying to think, well, yeah, it can be so grim as an experience. So, if I could think of a really cool word to call it, but it's connection. It's connection, essentially.
Yeah.
Connect with like-minded people, which again is still a corporate phrase, or find your tribe, overused, saturated. But it's so important. And I mean, I rely on my community on a daily basis to keep me sane. I can't do it all by myself. And I don't think anyone can, but this is a female thing in my observations. And it's certainly something that kind of people need to invest in more, I think, into both professionally and personally, and sharing the load with what's going on in your life, so you can kind of have that cathartic relief, but also it's like, oh, it's not just me. I'm not insane. Hey.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually, you take me on to a new thought, which is, from my experience, I've found that over the years, and I don't know if you agree, that women often do not make time for themselves. They don't take care of themselves. They don't think about themselves. They're in service of everybody else most of the time. Now, this isn't gender specific, but I definitely feel that if you standard distribution, you'd probably have more men putting aside time for self-care, whether that be exercise or going to networks or playing golf or whatever it is, than you do women. And therefore, that presents a problem for you, which is, how do you even get the women to come along to the network in the first place?
It's happening faster now, because obviously, once you get a collective, it grows and it grows, but a lot of my work has come from referrals. So I don't really go out and look for people. I mean, I share a lot of information. I post a lot of information. I I use fun words when I post, and fun words, like hurrah, this is great. There will be a raffle, yay! It's just like, it's not intended to be particularly like corporate in its language, or professional language, so to speak. But the way that it's really evolved, and everyone's kind of like, how do you meet so many cool people? Is that because cool people introduce me to other cool people? And they are cool, really cool people who I'm just like, wow, you're so impressive. I'm just spend a lot of time going, oh, I'm a fangirl. I like you so much. And just generally being blown away by the work that people do. And I completely agree with you around women not making time for themselves. Certainly, if you're a senior HR leader, I mean, I think women wear responsibility. They like a cloak. It's delegation is hard, because you will delegate something to your team, but you'll still have it with you. You'll still hold it with you, and then something else will happen, and something else, and then you've got your family life, and your and children, and aging parents, and so much stuff that you're wearing. The thought of kind of going out and seeking a community around developing your professional self is like a nice to have. It's kind of like, what, I just if I'm going to drop something, it's going to be that. But what people soon realize, if they're finding those right communities for them, or finding that right room where they can be learning and feel safe, that it helps unpick all of that, and helps share the load, and helps throw off some of the burdens that people are wearing. And I don't know if that's the right analogy, but that's kind of how I feel. Like if I feel heavy, I speak to someone and I tell them, and I kind of unburden it, and then they'll say, yeah, that's okay, and I'm like, cool, and then it's slightly diminished in terms of a problem because I've shared it. But that's how they're my coping strategies. To share. Then hopefully other people learn from that as well. They're like, oh right, well, George was vulnerable, and I can, and now, and then I want to kind of hear what they're holding on to as well, and see if I can kind of help in any other way.
Yeah, I think it's an incredibly uplifting thing to do. I think for anybody listening who's sort of toying with the idea of potentially pushing themselves out of their comfort zone and getting involved with something and connecting, I guess. I think not only do you learn, and you can also share your challenges in a safe setting, basically. I think it can change your perspective. I had an interesting experience on Monday where I was speaking to a future podcast guest, sort of trying to get an idea of what the podcast would focus on. And it's a comedian called Lizzie Allen, who has done huge amounts of transformational work and work around recovery from addiction. And she decided she wanted to set up a women's circle, I think with her mother. And it's fairly new. So I was on the call with her on Monday, and then on Monday evening, they ran this women's circle. So she said, why don't you just come along? And I mean, I was supposed to be with you on the 3rd of September in London for a lunch, and I'm not able to make it because my daughter's first day at secondary school.
Oh. Yes.
So, you know, the balance, you know, the balance is real. And I thought, oh, brilliant, I've got an opportunity to do something in the moment. So I dialed in for this hour-long women's circle with women from all over the world, just for an hour. And all it really did was a bit of meditation, and they broke us out into breakout rooms and just posed one question to us. And then we had this bit of a sort of existential chat about what we thought. And then we came back in and they, you know, asked for some insights, and then we all went. And I hadn't slept well for a week because there's some stuff going on in my personal life at the moment that has thrown everything up in the air. I've been waking up 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning and basically not getting back to sleep. And for the first time in over a week, I slept that night. And I'm absolutely certain it's just because I felt held, in the broadest term, not physically, but I felt held psychologically, emotionally, for 1 hour. And it was all women, and it just felt like an incredibly beautiful experience. So I'm saying that because if there's anybody who hasn't done this yet, you know, it's a sort of call to action to get involved. Because it just can be so powerful.
There are some phenomenal kind of groups out there, and you have to work out what's right for you, you know, in terms of finding those spaces. But I think, and there is definitely a difference between the way that men and women network, that I've observed. And it kind of leans back to what I was saying before. Women connect on a personal level. We're interested in, like, who are you? What are you about? Like, children, holidays, where do you live? Like, what's going on for you? And then once trust is established, then business conversation happens naturally as a result. So where at networking events that I've traditionally gone to have been very much like, so who are you? What do you do? Justify your existence. And then you just kind of like, and I played that game. I did it. I know how to do it. I know how to kind of, right, I have to go and meet someone. I know how to leave. You know, I know how to move around and then connect with people on LinkedIn using your QR code. Look at me, fancy. And now it's just like, oh, I don't know. It's making friends to a certain extent. It's kind of like everyone has got so much going on. There's so much noise. But also, I completely appreciate that doing something good for yourself is really hard. I mean, there's 101 things that I should be doing. I haven't left the house today. Have I gone for a walk? No. Did I sit down and have a proper meal? No. I went to the fridge and I got some cold mashed potato and shoved it while standing with the fridge open before I had this podcast. Yeah, I mean, there is no. I'm not the ambassador for a utopia in terms of this is me. It's like it's all still a work in progress, but you just got to find a few things that help you feel fulfilled and I don't know, but also, also I want to be surrounded by people who challenge me slightly, and to kind of like challenge my thinking, and I love debate, and I like different opinions and kind of hearing different perspectives. It's not an evangelical kind of experience like, well, we all think the same. I think that's, well, frankly, a bit dull.
Yeah.
But
Well, of course, if you
it,
create the safety, then you can have different
yeah,
opinions. It's only in environments which don't feel safe that then different opinions can become a threat. So I think what you've created has been amazing, and just even in terms of, because we of course met on the event scene, didn't we? It was
yes, we
before, when
did.
you worked in the corporate event space, and I would come to these events, and of course, the whole journey since then, and has taken you to this place where you're able to be your authentic self and bring this amazing vision to life, which is a little bit disruptive and a bit different and very refreshing.
Yeah.
But it's been a journey for you, and I just want to touch on that, getting
Yeah.
into a bit more of a personal discussion, really.
Sure.
Because you've had your fair share of challenges, both personally and professionally. You always seem to find a way of keeping on going. What's been the hardest part of that journey, and how do you bounce back when you go through those difficulties?
Well, actually, the hard parts are easy for me, because it becomes things I go into a project management mindset, like when things are tough, like, okay, right, crisis management, this is what we need to do. And I'm referring to at the start of COVID, my daughter went into a very acute mental health crisis. And at the same time COVID was happening, I was running a small business with a lot of responsibility in terms of not just employees, but clients who were relying on me. So I have no idea how physically and mentally I managed to navigate that. Where things started to become challenging was when everything kind of went back to normal, and it's the after effects. Like, because you're just running on adrenaline, and you feel almost supersonic in terms of your capabilities to be able to be where you need to be and look after everyone else. And then, wading in, let's say wading into perimenopause, and along with that, with PTSD, burnout, and that, it was a cocktail for me. And also feelings that I'd never experienced before, that was so alien to how I'd seen myself as someone who's quite competent and capable, high achiever. Like and again, it's kind of, it took me a long time to be okay when I don't feel okay. I mean, that's kind of like, that's a slogan and a half, but I fought against it before I really kind of sought out, well, went out to kind of, okay, well, this isn't normal for me. I need to, I really need to kind of work through it, and discover how I am now.
Yeah.
Which was an odd thing. It's kind of like you were trying. I'm like, no, I want to be that person. I like that person. It was easy. I knew who I was, and yeah, I feel very, very different now. And actually, it was interesting. I was with someone who's known me for a long time this week, and they went, "Oh my God, you have changed a lot." She said, you're much more philosophical. You're much more relaxed. The small things don't seem to bother you as much. And it was such a compliment, because I used to manage this person, and management and me were awkward. but it was such a flattering thing for someone I know and really value their opinion of, to say something like that. So it's all good.
What led to the change? What led to this new philosophical perspective?
I've never had much patience, and I've had to learn patience. Therapy, putting myself in a situation where I am surrounded by excellent and good people who feed my energy, and being more self-aware around where I am best placed, rather than trying to fulfill everyone else's version of what they expect me to be. And that was a very difficult thing when I came and I went freelance, that everyone was very excited and like, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this. And I was like, yes, I should. You think I should, so I should. And you should do this. And you know, I am ambitious and I am really driven. Crikey, someone wrote me a business plan. Someone who was brilliant to write me a business plan. I opened it up, read it, and then I started to cry.
Gosh.
Because it was just so overwhelming in terms of formality and like expectations, and everything in it I could do. Of course I could, but it was just like, it was, I don't know, it was just too, it's really hard to pinpoint it, but it was too formal. And that's kind of not how I work. I've never been kind of ever formal in my practices. I mean, I am literally like one of those people who are kind of like, right, I'm going to do this task. Oh, someone's messaged me. I may need to do that. Oh, they're asking for this. I need to open this tab, and I need to open this tab. And then sometime around about 2:00 in the morning, I'll wake up and realize that I haven't done the task I'm meant to do. And I bought all this like productivity stuff to help me with lists and timers and like so much crap that I bought. I don't think I'm inclined to change that part of myself, because the creativity of what I do is always led me to good things. I don't know. I mean, as long as I'm doing the basics and actually fulfilling on deadlines and the rest of it, the other stuff. Yeah, and you know, through conversation and speaking to people, I mean, all conversations are of value. And I quite often go, like, oh, I shouldn't speak to people for the next 2 weeks because I've got so much admin to do. But the number of like conversations I'll go like, oh, if I hadn't had that conversation, I wouldn't have met that person, and that person, I wouldn't have met that person, and or I wouldn't have got that piece of business or that client work, or and it's all, everything like that, everything good has come from connection.
Yeah, amazing.
So
amazing.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think I've answered your question.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think you have. Insofar as there seems to be a number of different realizations, but also work that you had to do. I mean, you did do some therapy. But actually, I mean, the thought that came to mind is there's a style of psychology called process psychology, and Arnold Mandel, who wrote the amazing book Sitting in the Fire, which I recommend all the time because it's one of my favourite books. But because the sitting in the fire analogy is about sometimes you just have to sit in the fire. Like sometimes you're going through some really difficult stuff. Recognizing that you're in the fire and that at some point you will get out of the fire can be quite useful when you're going through the mire.
Yeah, and I'd agree with that. I mean, I've struggled with depression for the last 5 years. I have periods of really lows, and then I have periods of returning to kind of what I know of myself in terms of my productivity capability. Let's go out, let's be social. And then times where I'm like, oh, my battery's so low. And if I'm not speaking to my mother and I have a really great relationship with my mom, then I know that, like, okay, something's up. And now I don't hate myself for it anymore. It's okay to be sad.
Yeah.
You know, I'm working now through strategies of how to improve that rather than sit in it. I'm starting another round of therapy now to kind of almost coaching therapy and to be held to account in terms of lifestyle changes and you know, not overworking myself. So that's going to be fun. I mean, we'll do another podcast and see how it's gone, because at the moment it seems great and it's going to be amazing. But you know, I've recently been diagnosed. I'm neurodivergent, and you know, it wasn't a shock to me. My daughter's got autism, and it enabled me to kind of think about my childhood, my life, how I work, and the people I surround myself with, and who have attracted or gravitated to me like a magnet. So yeah, I'm you know what, I'm still learning about myself, but I'm really open to that. I think that's okay.
Well, it doesn't. That sounds like that was the answer. Is that had to, you had to learn about
Yeah,
yourself. That was the journey.
yeah, yeah.
And
Yeah,
actually,
it was, and it was hard.
right.
It was really hard. Yeah, like navigating mental health services and navigating doctors and trying to get on HRT and just, being made to feel like an idiot by, you know, so many different kind of situations where you're trying to advocate for yourself, but you actually don't know what the solution is. But unless you're very clear and have clarity around this is what I need and a checklist of all the symptoms, you're not really going to get well. You have to be. I'm very lucky. I'm assertive and I'm educated and I've got the skills to be able to do that. And I think a lot about the people who don't.
Yeah.
To and who are struggling. So yeah, it's been a journey, but yeah, it's definitely, I feel like I'm, well, a bit more in the driver's seat than I previously have before in terms of kind of like my self-awareness
Yeah.
and my self-forgiveness
Yeah. Yeah. And I was thinking acceptance. There's a
and
certain level
self-acceptance
of
and
acceptance that
yeah,
feels like you reached. I mean, right at the beginning of the podcast, you said not everybody will like you.
yeah,
There's an argument to say that you sort of want it to be that way because then you will
you
find your
do.
tribe. You don't want everybody to
Yeah,
like you. You want the people you
yeah,
get on well with, who raise your vibration, who you can
mm,
collaborate with, who you can enjoy life with, who make you feel better, who you make feel better.
mm.
You want those to be the people that like you, and everybody else is for other people. Like they can all be friends with other people.
And that's fine. I mean, it's still, it will still hit me, and I kind of like, why don't they like me? And I still have to have a conversation with myself, like, oh, that's okay, you know. Um, but yeah, it's been, yeah, this, in addition to the therapy and the support for my family and the support for my community, one of the biggest things that I've actually had impact. I've been mentoring for the last 2 years, and it's been quite extraordinary the what I have learned from working with younger female professionals and what they have given me in terms of kind of like it's like your kids, we raise our children to, well, I certainly did, to have an opinion, to have a voice, to call out what's obvious, and like, generally my daughter will say on a daily basis, Mum, it's not that deep. And I just and I love it. It's just not that deep. So,
Yeah, I've heard that in my house too.
along with, no, I don't want to give you a hug. Stop being so needy. All
Same.
right, fine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So, but I am, these young professional women who, are, there's so much confidence in certain areas that I think my generation lack. And then it kind of like this confidence that I have that they lack, and the reverse mentoring. And, I've just had such joy from the mentoring process. And that has also really, really helped me in lots of ways, personally and professionally, in terms of where I am at now on my journey.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. And if there is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self based on all of the experience, I mean, there's probably lots of advice, but the one piece of advice that is the most important that you would give to your younger self based on all of the experiences and sleepless nights and highs and lows that you've been through, what would that be?
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I've talked about it already, but it's like, just you don't have to try so hard. It's okay. You're a good person, and childhood memories are so they more than I realized, form so much of our core, and our, like, even our, reactions in a professional environment can be so drawn back to kind of like, feelings of exclusion or, you know um instances of trauma. But yeah, I had such great friends, and I really was not that good at them because I was so kind of like desperate to be popular or to be liked by everyone or to impress people that I think I neglected the kids who were more who cared about me and who were my genuine friends. And I wish, and I'm really regretful of that I didn't kind of look after and support them more, and know that that's, you don't have to be liked by everyone. It's okay to find your tribe again, and be with your people, because you can be yourself. And especially, obviously, I was very good at masking and behaving certain ways to impress people. So it's taken a long time to unpick that. And even when I speak to people now, a bit of a litmus test for me is I feel myself kind of mirroring or trying to impress someone, or or adapting my language to find that connection. Because that's, for me, that's all it is. I go on a call and it's like, right, what's the hook? We're going to find something that we're going to gel on. And if I can't find it, then I adapt my behavior. And if I do that, I'm like, oh, they're not my person. That's okay. But I've become really self-aware of my behavior around that.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many examples that run through my head of people that I've worked with as a coach over the last few years who have modified their behaviour so much, and the work ended up being about them just accepting themselves for who they are, and the idea that they're actually, they're absolutely fine as they are. I mean, we, good people who make mistakes, right? We are all imperfect. We don't get it right. We do things wrong. We're not always fantastic. But nevertheless, fundamentally, we're all absolutely fine as our authentic selves, just the way we are. And I feel like life is almost like a journey of discovery to just find that out.
It is a little bit. It does. I mean, but goodness me, it's been fun along the way. Still, it's not a tale of woe at all. But it leans in more to what I was saying before. Like, I'm different now. I'm different. I've had different experiences. And what I need now is different. And am I looking to be a supersonic entrepreneur and make millions? No, it's not me. It's kind of, my business plan currently is to drink a slightly better quality of wine year on year, and to take an extra week off year on year. That's my business plan. And that's it. And it might change, and that's okay. But I can't, where I'm at in my personal life, my professional life, I can't, that's the tone I'm setting. And as soon as I decided that that's what I wanted to do, it didn't mean I can't have big plans and ideas and be a solopreneur, but I needed to take the pressure off myself. And that was, once I realized that, I was like, oh. Cool. That suits me, and also it makes people smile, which I love as well.
You do a lot of. I mean,
I do.
There is no event or occasion where I've either spent time with you, either in person or online, where I haven't spent most of my time in stitches.
Well, this is the thing. We were talking to someone today about, like, the ability for people to say they've made a mistake, or reflect on making a mistake. Never been a problem for me. I mean, I'll say sorry before I've even done anything. It's kind of like, I'm just sometimes just sorry. I'm really sorry. So I'm trying to, you can be great at telling people, like, don't say sorry. You don't need to apologize, but you're still awful yourself. But I had an amazing moment this morning where I called up the insurance company because I had 4 withdrawals as a direct debit for 4 cat insurances, right? And I was kind of like, they're overcharging me. I don't have, why are they overcharging me? I don't have 4 cats. So I called them up, like, very irate, kind of, right, you're overcharging me. I don't have 4 cats. And she said, well, should I go through the names that we have on file? And then she read out all the names. And turns out I do have 4 cats, but I completely forgot that I did yesterday morning.
Hold on. So you do have 4 cats?
Apparently so. I have 4 cats. I mean, I know I have them, but it seems so ridiculous in my current state that who has 4 cats? That's so ridiculous that I'd convince myself. But and someone said to me, "Oh, what did you say? Did you just kind of like, oh, thanks for your time," and hang up?" I was like, no, I kind of went, "Oh my God, I am so sorry." Like, how ridiculous, and just kind of like, and then just started laughing because it was so stupid. And and of course, now I've told like at least 4 to 5 people about this story. So every mistake is just a brilliant anecdote for joy.
Yeah,
that's generally kind of it. I get so much mileage out of kind of being ridiculous, and slightly insane.
Great,
but it's and I mean that's something I've always done. I mean, I've always surrounded myself. I mean, that's been an important value in my family. I mean, my family are farmers from Tasmania. It was always about fessing up because I am raising a family of 6. Someone was going to dob you in.
Wow.
So you definitely had to it was better to just tell the truth. I think people find that sometimes unsettling, like, oh my God, like you didn't have to do that. But it's a very important thing to me, I think. And how are you going to learn if you don't acknowledge?
Yeah, I learned that lesson very, very early on in my career. Telling the truth is definitely the secret to success. It's been amazing talking to you today. I mean, we could go on. There's so much
we could.
But for anybody who wants to get hold of you or who wants to understand more about the networks or join the networks, where do they find you?
LinkedIn, Georgina Kelly. I'm all over it. And just send me a connection request. Mention that you listen to the podcast. Someone mentioned that they listened to another podcast this morning that I'd done probably a year ago now, and they said, "Oh, I found it really inspiring." And I was kind of like, did this whole kind of like, someone likes me, and that they wanted to join the Women in HR network, which is honestly, that's probably my biggest piece of advice. If someone inspires you, or someone is like shifts your thinking, or just reach out to them. Like, LinkedIn is such a glossy place of self-promotion. And honestly, people love to hear your feedback. They like to, and if you want to learn from them, HR is such, I mean, we're custodians of people. We're values driven, we're carers, and expand your network and reach out to those people who inspire you, because they'd love to talk to you. And that's been my experience.
Fantastic advice. Thank you so much. Lovely to see you, and hope to have you back one day as we see the evolution of your story.
Oh yeah, absolutely. See how the therapy is going.
Thank you for listening to Pieces of Choice. For any information on what we've covered in today's episode, and to connect with my guests, head to the show notes. It would be great if you could rate and review the podcast and subscribe now so you don't miss out on any future episodes.